award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Sam Lesante Show. Folks, we're going to hear in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the Chancery Building. And this building houses, of course, many offices. The bishop, of course, is one. And one of the other offices it houses is the superintendent of Catholic schools. And that happens to be a very good friend of mine, Monsignor David Tressler. And he's here today. We're going to talk about a lot of things about Catholic education. And Monsignor, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation.
Family's okay?
Family's doing well.
Dad's behaving?
He is.
That's good. All right, so now you've acquired the position as superintendent, okay? You're no stranger to Catholic education by no means. Let's talk about, first of all, Catholic education, how you view it.
I see Catholic education, this is a very exciting role for me because I see it as a very vital ministry within the church, and that I've truly been an advocate of Catholic education since I was ordained a priest 29 years ago. Then I assumed various roles in various schools throughout the diocese as principal and as administrator, as assistant superintendent, and then I went back. I returned to being a full-time parish priest, and the opportunity came to explore the position of superintendent of schools, which is something I've always had a desire to do, because I believe so much in the mission.
So what do you see as a superintendent? What's your vision now for how many schools you have?
We have 20 schools.
20 schools. Now, how many high schools?
4 high schools, 16 elementary schools in the 11 counties of the diocese.
Okay. We need to put a high school back in Hazleton. I'll tell the bishop that. Okay. Hey, Bishop, let's put a... But we're all kidding aside. What's your vision?
Right now, my vision is, as I begin this year, when I first was appointed to the position, I had the great privilege of going out to all 20 schools, meeting with all the principals on their turf. Because some schools I was not real familiar with, other schools I had greater familiarity because of my years in Catholic education. Sat down with them, kind of talked to them about what are their concerns, what are their hopes, what are their goals. And then I've come back and I've begun to really reflect on how I can take what they've shared with me and put that into my vision. And it goes along very much with the fact of what Bishop Ambera issued in his statement on Catholic schools, that he wants us to be stable schools, that are sustainable, that are spiritually sound and academic excellent. So when I had my opening principals meeting, I challenged the principals with really 3 goals that I've set for myself and hopefully for them as well within their school communities. The first being that of hospitality. Are we a place where people truly feel welcome? A place where people truly, can experience a comfort level, a climate that they know that they're valued and they're appreciated. The second is that of academic excellence. Are we doing the best we can? Fully realizing, fully understanding that, no institution is perfect. We're human, and we continue to grow each day. I have a great saying I use in a lot of my homilies: perfection's not reached this side of the grave. So we can't rest on our laurels. We have a great product. We have to continue to grow and do better each day. And the third would be, are we following the example of the master teacher? Mindful of the fact that Jesus is the reason for our school, and he's the ever-present teacher in our classrooms and the model of our faculty and students. Are we daily striving to follow that motto? And so that's what I've really challenged the principals this year to reflect upon within their own school communities, with my own leadership, and as I embrace the Catholic school system, because it's changed somewhat from my early days when you and I both had hair and we knew one another well.
Speak for yourself. I like that too.
But truly, and so I want to be able to really work very hard at making sure that we are stable and sustainable.
We see things evolving in Catholic education and private education, going back to the development. I think I know going to parochial school at Mother Grace, and then I went to public school, high school, then went to King's College. In parochial school, we began to see a sense of what we're a religion and how important Jesus was in our lives. And sometimes people at home, the parents, are busy, and with all due respect, hopefully they take their children to Mass if they're Catholic, so they could get the feeling of. But the importance of a Catholic education and sending your child to Catholic education, How important that is in the development of that young Christian person as they begin to evolve and grow older?
I think it's a very important part of their to have that formation experience of being able to integrate faith, academics, service. That's all a part of who we are as Christian Catholics. That's responding to our own baptismal call to be full and active participants of our faith. Hopefully, in our Catholic school communities, we're planting that seed so that the fruits of our labor may not be recognized while we have the student, whether it be in an elementary school or a high school community. But as they get older, they'll value their Catholic faith because of the experience they had in Catholic school.
So some people are looking at the quality of education, okay, and you said about the product. Right? How does the Catholic private schools, the Catholic education, how do they fit in with the standards, educational standards?
We have just done all of our curriculum to meet the core standards and really to exceed them. We believe very firmly in going further and not just following some standards, but developing even beyond what the expectation is.
And is there, that you have to meet the certain standards in the state, the requirements, okay? When you're looking at the St. Jude's, for example, St. Jude's was just honored as a blue ribbon school. What was that all about?
Blue Ribbon School is a procedure of self-evaluation where the school went through an intense self-evaluation over the last 2 years and had to look at their test scores and try to set benchmarks how they will improve and work harder on their academics. And it's a great deal of paperwork that is submitted, a great deal of data substantiating the fact that they've seen improvement, they've set out their goals. It's very common to our Middle States accreditation, which all of our schools are Middle States accredited, where it's a self-analysis, introspective look at ourselves, acknowledging our strengths, and also recognizing our weaknesses and where we need to grow. But in the Blue Ribbon School, it's really through the United States Department of Education. It's a very similar process, but it is a recognition given by the Secretary for Education.
I have 2 grandchildren going to Holy Family. And they're very happy. And I said this when I interviewed Mr. Basic. My hats are off to all teachers, public, private, because it's a very difficult challenge today. Sometimes we have people from the public schools come on. They talk about their tests and advances, and everybody has a story to tell. But now the spotlight's on in this interview on Catholic education, as I said. Telling a parent, okay, or a guardian, of why it would be important for them to consider Catholic education.
I think it would be important for them to consider because we have a different climate and environment that we operate. Do I say we're the best for every student? No. Some students in my career, it was not a good environment because we're disciplined. We also have, expectations that sometimes young people just can't meet. I think Catholic education allows for us to be very formative for students who are looking for a holistic education, faith, academics, service. And so is it for everybody? I would like it to be, but I would be foolish to say no, it's not for everybody.
Okay. Folks, I'm talking to Monsignor Dave Tressler, who is the superintendent of the Scranton Diocese Schools, has a tremendous challenge, and we come back, we're talking about challenges. And I know many of you are would love to send your children to Catholic schools, but there's a cost factor. We're going to address that as well. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, you can watch all of our shows on ssptv.com. My email is sam@ssptv.com. I'm here in Scranton, the Chancery Building, where the house is many offices. One of that, of course, is the bishop, and also the superintendent for Catholic schools, Monsignor Dave Tressler, who happens to be the new superintendent. So, as we said, there's some challenges, okay? Okay, so what is the immediate challenge that you see as superintendent for Catholic education?
I think being able to work with the economics and the demographics of our 11-county area, the diocese, that are changing, and making sure that we're keeping ourselves sustainable so that parents can afford us and that we are an option for our faith communities.
So how can we grow in Catholic education? As I said before, there's many people who would like to consider Catholic education, but because of economic situations, it becomes a difficult task, okay? What do you say to them?
I say, we do have financial aid that is available. Please, come and see us. Fill out our forms. You may be able to receive assistance. We do have some limited endowment dollars that could be awarded based upon need, based upon circumstances. But again, if you don't at least fill out the paperwork, we can't help you. So don't think it's not affordable. Give us a chance. We'll work on the local level with the principal and his or her staff, who also can, give you some other direction and being able to get some financial assistance.
When you're talking about that product again, which I think is so very important, the development of the individual child, the student, you could have said yes. I mean, you could have said no to the position, but you decided to say yes to the position. And I addressed a little bit in the beginning because you are familiar with Catholic education. How did Catholic education benefit you?
Catholic, it was a very positive experience for me. I'm originally from western part of the state. I didn't have the opportunity to go to a Catholic high school. I went to a Catholic elementary school. Then when I moved here with my family, when my father took new employment, I was given the opportunity then once again to return to a Catholic high school, and I just flourished. And I will always be very, very thankful to Bishop Hannon High School, and that is now part of Holy Cross High School in Scranton, for the faith, the formation, and the friends. And has just created for me a bond that has lasted for many, many years.
I know you as being a hands-on person, just like our bishop is. He's very hands-on and is compassionate and you look at different things. When you're visiting the various schools and you have to do your thing as superintendent, but then you get in to mingle with the students, okay? Have you had any opportunities of doing that?
It's just so life-giving. It's just to be able to walk around to the classrooms and just see the bright smiles and the shining eyes, and that makes it all worth it. It makes all the various challenges we may have, but that's what we're all about, those young people. And those young people have been entrusted to us by God to care for them and to prepare them for life, and it's just a wonderful privilege.
What did they say to you?
Well, they're very, they're always very interesting. Like, the little ones will look up and say, "Who are you?" And other ones know who
I'm your boss, kid.
Other ones know who I am coming in. And they've just been very warm and very welcoming, grateful with hospitality.
When you talk to the students, they'll tell you that the best sellers sometimes are the people that are there, who have the product and use the product, okay? When it comes to, first of all, do you see any additional Catholic schools growing in the Diocese of Scranton, or are we at a status quo right now until enrollment starts getting up?
I think right now Bishop has given us a clear direction of the footprint he wants: the 16 elementary, the 4 high schools. We have to really see if things change, if our demographics change, if our population starts to move and grow. But right now there's no real plan in place for something like that.
Well, I think it all boils down to enrollment. I mean, if the schools begin to flourish and there's more people coming in, if they can meet the financial needs, which again I think is a major deterrent sometimes. They'd love to send their kids, to a Catholic school, but it's finances always, and we have addressed that. Looking at the individual classrooms, do you have a rule or a guideline that says there's only so many kids can be in a classroom, or how does that work?
Basically, we leave that up to the local principals, because they know their community, they know their culture, they know what, to meet the needs of their people. I was a product of 48 in a class, K to 8, and we were doing cooperative learning a long time before it became an educational buzzword, cooperative learning. So, you have the pros and the cons, and so really leave it up to the principals to decide what's best for that grade level, what's best for those students.
So that's individualized, okay? But I found in most elementary schools, you don't have 48.
No, not any longer.
No, I mean, they're in the 20s maybe. Right. And now, when you're looking at, again, getting back to the product, okay? I know. When I was a teacher, I had to meet certain requirements before I was hired. What are the guidelines? Are they the same as the state as far as public schools, or are they something a little bit? You look for something.
All our teachers are certified, state certified in the various subject areas. They're all college graduates. They all should have state certification, or if not working towards that, because we may ask them to teach in a different discipline, but they may have a teaching certificate already. We also go beyond that in our safe environment, making sure that they have their Virtus trainings and all their clearances. But we would follow all the specific mandates. All our teachers are highly professional and qualified.
Which leads me to the question, you just mentioned the word safe, okay? How safe are our Catholic schools?
We're constantly in-servicing our faculties on safe schools. We're trying to make sure that they know we have a crisis manual in place so that we can respond to the best of our ability given the situation at the time that's presented to us.
So, have you visited all the schools yet? Or
I was there over the summer to see all 20 of them and to tour them.
Okay.
I've been out to about 12 of them at this point in the year.
When you're going to the schools, are you going as just monitoring what's going on, or are you inserting your goals and what you're
trying to insert my goals, reaffirm them with the principals? Matter of fact, I have a principals meeting tomorrow that I'll be talking about my goals again. But I'm basically going out to see the school in operation, to see the lifeblood of the school, to see the children, and to meet with the principals, and because I see my role as superintendent to serve them. As we talk about so often, that Jesus came to serve. That's my role. I'm not here to be hammering them. I'm here to help them because I know they're in the trenches. They're dealing with a lot of the struggles each day that the people are faced with in our society. And so I don't want to complicate their job. I want to try to help them and support them to the best of my ability.
Now, I know this is a dumb question I'm going to ask you, but I'm sure the people, what kind of response are you getting from the teachers and principals and the kids? What kind of response are you getting? Get them out of here, we don't want to see them. Or,
I'm hoping they're not like when I was principal and the superintendent came. I was glad to see him or her go, but I'm hoping that the response has been very, very welcoming. I have a lot of identity in the systems already because of my years in Catholic education, so they've been very supportive.
So I asked the bishop a question about when he was a pastor and how he looked at the annual appeal and what it was in terms of the direction, etc. And now as the bishop, how he sees it to just magnifying, and he brought that transition as to, I could see how great it was. Now, you were a high school principal, okay? Bishop Afey, wasn't it?
Bishop Afey and Bishop Hope.
And Bishop Hope. Now, as a principal, okay, you were on the, front lines, okay? Have you learned anything from that you will be able to utilize as superintendent or vice versa?
Oh, absolutely. Those experiences have been very formative, I think, in my own administrative style, the way in which I respond to situations, the way in which I try to respond to people, because I feel it's very important that we respond to the people who we serve. But sometimes you have to take a breath and just, think about how you're going to respond if it's a particular situation or particular concern. Because I always say that when we sit in the seats we sit in, whether it was principal or now superintendent, any decisions we make affect not just that particular situation, but many situations. And so you want to think through everything. Sometimes people get a little frustrated because I'll say, I'll get back to you, let me think about that. But overall, that's been one of the greatest things I learned as a principal. I had a pastor many, many years ago who said, you have to act, not react. Reaction's emotional, action's rational. And my biggest mistakes have been when I reacted,
Tell me about it. I mean, I tell my kids and how many times I've reacted, just out of emotions, and, after a while you say, well, look, you really should have done that. You should have really thought about it. And I guess as a superintendent, you have the best interest for all the students, okay? And sometimes, you got to make a decision, and you hope that, you do the action and not the reaction. Folks, I'm talking to Monsignor David Tressler. He is the new superintendent of Catholic education in the Diocese of Scranton. We come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Catholic education and how great it is. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. I'm talking to Monsignor Dave Tressler, who is the superintendent of Catholic schools in the Diocese of Scranton. So once again, it was so nice to hear that you became superintendent. I know you're going to do a great job for the students, okay? And you said about what you want to instill. Catholic education for young people today, and we know how the world is, and where it's going, and unfortunately some people think that they don't need God in their lives anymore. It's only when something, as Bishop Timlin said, when you hit a bump in the road, then all of a sudden pray for me, go to church, etc., etc. But so to help families out or in Catholic education and to develop them, the development, the culturing, how so important is that in just ordinary life?
I think it's essential and it's vital. It's, you know, hopefully our Catholic school communities can be seen in partnership with families, helping them, because families are faced with many struggles in this day and age because of the times of society, and so that we're there to be a partner with them to help them as we form these young people into productive citizens.
Well, certainly I know you have some good challenges. I think you're looking at them, you're looking forward to them. They can help you. You can help people out in terms of financing, you know, which is the case. What would you like to see happen within the next 2 years maybe in Catholic education?
Just to continue to see us flourish, that our enrollments continue to grow, and that people really see us as welcoming communities that are stable, sustainable, spiritually sound, and academically excellent.
So the way you find out about these schools, folks, you can always contact the office here and learn more about Catholic education. But again, we say Catholic education, you do not have to be a Catholic to go to Catholic schools, okay? Correct?
Correct, absolutely.
I know a few people that, you know, are Protestants and even a Jewish family. They love sending their children there, but they have their faith. But it's just the culturing of those young individuals. Well, I wish you the best, Monsignor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you.
We hope to talk to you in maybe 6-7 months to see how we've improved and how we've increased enrollment.
Okay, very good. Excellent.
And don't forget that high school, that Catholic high school in Hazleton, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, put that on the list. All right, folks, remember, 24/7, you can watch any of our shows, ssptv.com. My email, sam@ssptv.com. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.